do is go back. Sorry guys, go to ceiling, and then we want to edit. Which one do you want? What does it say to use here? No, we didn't give you one.
Thing that we use as time.
Is that the one that we made though?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we're fine. I'll just do it again. And I'm in sketch mode, so I'm gonna go back to sketch ceiling. Just do it again. Boundary line, triangle tool. And I am gonna drive to the inside of the drywall.
To the inside or outside the driveway?
I'm going inside just to be safe. Brody, what you want to do, and Chris, are you probably not running yet? You got to grab annotate up top, detail line, and you need to draw a line across here to get to where we are. You want to draw from the center point. And here you want to draw a line across with annotate detail line. Okay, now rather than leaving like I just did to show the flat ceiling, don't do that. Don't check the finish yet. So I just drew that ceiling in to my annotate line using the rectangle tool. I'm gonna go to slow barrel now. You can leave if you want and then go back and select the ceiling just like you would with a floor and then go edit boundary. You don't need to, you can do it right now. I can click slow barrel. And we want it to slope, it's weird, it doesn't have to be the midpoint, it can be anywhere along here, but it just usually likes to attract the midpoint. And I want to slope it this way. Right to the top till it snaps. Okay? And you're going to click on that. Alright? Now you want to go over to set these constraints. And we don't want to specify height and tail, we want to specify the slope. So I'm going to change that constraint. And the level at tail should be top of subfloor. And this is where we set that offset. I'm going to try it at 8'1". Because I know the drywall on the wall underneath, I think it's at 8.5 inch, but we'll see what happens. It's no big deal. Now the inside slope obviously doesn't, we have scissor trusses, right? So they're gonna be thicker at the top, come down to the heel. So I don't think the information's on the DWG, so 3.5, usually where that's gonna be, maybe 2. It's not gonna get more than 3 because I don't think they can design the truss to span quite that far. They have in the past, and it was a 2x6 top and bottom cord. So I got them to change it so that the trusses were lighter. Because they're scissor trusses and they're a little bit dangerous with students that have never touched a piece of wood before, so they wanted them as light as possible. So, remember this is the house we used to build. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that, I think. Let's just check. I'm going to check mark to finish and see what we got. So I'm going to go look at that section now, and there it is. Okay, so what happened here, we left this roof pretty high, remember, just because we liked, so there's the top of our wall at that line, and it places it at the roof, and we could bring that down still if we wanted to, but I don't know, this is pretty, it's up to you guys. I kind of like it like this because it's a nice responsible heel. The house is a little squished down anyway. It would look better with a 12/6 pitch maybe. Well, let's just leave it like that. So we have a nice responsible truss heel in there. We're not drawing the trusses just yet. And it's just intersecting the drywall because we didn't, you could, if you wanted to be technically correct, you could go in there and you could unlock this layer. Remember we unlocked the outside of that wall to pull the siding down last class? You can unlock the inside drywall and pull this down and make that work the way it's supposed to, if you want to. I'm not going to check that for marks or anything like that. I would maybe just concentrate on getting this roof done, and then if you want to play with that another day, go ahead. But that's how you'd make that work technically correct. Until we were to actually draw the truss, which we would bring this wall back down, stop it here, and we're gonna put a truss in. If we have time, we might do this next week.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll go to the edit mode of the city so I can check why it's wrong, because I did something wrong. What? It went, it is now like above the roof.
So you have to specify slope here, Andre, top of subfloor 8'1", and then set your pitch. It's a bit of a nasty one, it's pretty, wait till we put the other side in, it gets worse. I did it the other day just to refresh myself on how to do this, and the other side doesn't line up, and I have no idea why. It happens quite frequently with this tool, I don't know why. I asked, somebody up in AT about it, she didn't know.
It's okay.
Well, maybe it'll come to you when we do the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I gotta do the other side. I'm just gonna, I'll check the finish. And I'll just leave it so you can see the other side. So, the other side, we have to do a little bit differently. I'm gonna use the pick lines on that one. So again, I'll just go architecture, ceiling, sketch ceiling. This time I'm not gonna use the rectangle, I'm gonna do it a little bit slower, and I'm gonna use pick lines, because I got this thing down here I gotta deal with. Okay, so I'll just go in and, I want the inside of the drywall. Here, I'm gonna pick around. Why isn't it selecting my one? Oh, that's up here, annotation lines way up there. I was trying to pick the section line, don't get confused like I just did. And then obviously you have to neaten this just like anything else. So you're gonna use your trim extend the corner tool and trim these lines. Like so. I just trim them off because I'm used to this thing fucking at me. It looks like it's closed, but I'm gonna trim every corner anyway because I don't wanna have to do it a second time. Okay? So that should have that piece of ceiling in there. If I were to go look at it, this section right now, it's looking like this. Okay? The side we just drew is still flat, and the other side is up there. So that means I have to make it the same. So while I'm still in edit, modify, create ceiling, sketch mode, sorry, I'm trying to say, I'm gonna click slope arrow, and I'm gonna draw one in here. It doesn't have to be in the center. I'm just gonna pick this line and come in here until it snaps. Okay? And then in the constraints, I'm gonna go to slope. And I want it to come from the top of the subfloor. And we're coming up on 8'1". And we're gonna change the pitch to 3 to 12. And then check the finish. And then, go take a look, see what we got. Ah, that worked. Yeah, I did this last night, and I have no idea why, or yesterday, and this was a foot off. I measured it was way up here. I went back and checked those constraints, and they both said 8'1" offside. So if yours doesn't line up, and you swear that you're right, you can click on it. This is grayed out right now. You kind of have to go back into sketch mode and edit the boundary because it was drawn in sketch mode. You can't edit it here. You actually have to go to this thing, back to edit boundary. No, that's not gonna work either. You need to go back to, you need to select it, then you need to go back to your top of subfloor ceiling view, then click edit boundary, and then select the slope arrow. It's a nasty tool. And then go in and modify this. I've had it work before where it's an inch out. I'll have one side set for 8 feet, the other side set for 8'1". You're gonna go, I have no idea why. It might have to be order of operations or something, I don't know, I've never had anybody answer that for me, but I run into that every now and then, most of the time, like, it just worked for me. It's seldom done. Like I say, I was out exactly 12 inches yesterday, and no explanation.
What if we do like, same as like, if we select the roof, ceiling boundary from outside, from the framing, does it match or?
It should,
So,
it should, it's not gonna, it's not gonna fight, like, it's gonna join it because it's drywall to drywall, I don't think it'll conflict. Like, I drew it from the inside of the drywall just to be safe, I think I could have drawn it from the framing like it should be. But in our case, it doesn't really matter that much, because, when I go to my section, I haven't really drawn it correctly anyway. Like, this is not the way this works, right? Like, the wall is gonna stop here with a double top plate in it, but we haven't been drawing framing, and we haven't been drawing trusses, so this would be a truss up here, this wouldn't be a wall. So there would be no siding up in here, there'd be no drywall inside here, right? So, for the model we're building a real estate model to sell somebody a house right now, and it has no technical detail in it, not much anyway. Cause we're learning how to use the tool, it's kind of the next step that we kind of don't really have time for, but I'm gonna see if I can get another week out of this somehow, I gotta think about it this weekend. Because I think that'd be valuable for you guys. Yes, sir.
like, doesn't matter what you want to.
Yeah, delete it, do it again. Just make sure that that slope arrow stops to it. To that annotate line. Is your line in the right place? You just have the one?
Yeah, try
Did
and.
you draw another line that you have in there maybe, or something? It's possible. Okay, so then it's kind of fun to look at it here. I have the roof hidden. Okay. And then you can pull your section box back to see what it all looks like. Just put the roof back on, light bulb, select what you want, unhide category, blah, blah, blah. And then you got this kind of stuff going on. It's pretty cool, really. Once you have success. So, how many people are all messed up and need me to sort of run through that again, because I will? Yeah? Is everybody all right? Yeah, okay. Because the steps, I mean, I wrote them out, but, oh yeah, well, the constraints are there and stuff, and set the constraints as shown in the figure above. Repeat to the other side, you just need to notch out the front wall recess. Use this foot element. Yeah, I used a rectangle in the steps at step 24. I used a rectangle tool on it, and then I trimmed it with that split, whatever, or rather than using a rectangle like I just demonstrated, you can, or I mean the pick lines tool, you can use, obviously, the rectangle tool and just cut it out. Either or. The step 24 is different than how I did it, but more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. Just pull it a little bit for it. The way they came up with that old saying. My grandfather used to say that. More than one way to skin a cat. Used to terrify me when I was like 3 years old. But grandpa skins cats. That's awesome. Skin a rabbit. Well, people have cat rabbits too.
When we draw the ceiling,
Huh?
when we draw the boundary for the ceiling, I think that we will identify if the lines counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise means it is
That should.
defined by the.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You mean the wall?
Yeah, the 70 should be, because they should have been selected.
Use a rectangle on both then, and then cut the other one. That could be it, you might be right, yeah. So if you put one in with the rectangle and use thick lines on the other, you make it that discrepancy, so you could, like, the steps tells you to use a rectangle, then cut it. Try that, yeah. Either that, or you can just put in constraints and just budget. Even though it's long, one side's 8 foot one, the other one's 8 foot two. I've seen it all different permeations, nobody's gonna know. It's put them all. Every now and again, you have to just
No, other side, one side is okay.
accept it and move on, and then someday maybe you solve it. That could be it, different tools could be, but it
My this side is okay.
doesn't make any sense that that would be it though. But I'm not Mr. Autodesk, right? I didn't build it.
Nine.
Yeah, same. 11.
So that's the end of 3.1. 3.2 is good times. Not really. It can be very frustrating. You can just tell by step one, there's a fair bit of rambling. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Okay. Can I move on? A bunch of guys came in late, I don't really have time to go over that again, but, I can help you with it. Maybe at the end, once I get through this if there's time, or, on Friday. We have tomorrow class too? Yeah. Maybe on Friday I'll go back and do the slope ceiling again, that's all we did. That's what you guys missed, so we can start fresh with 3.2 right now. And yeah, you can put the ceiling in late, after all this stuff, you can still put the ceiling in at any time. Okay, so if you were late, you missed all the first part, don't worry about it, we'll do it, remind me, we'll do it Friday or at the end of this class. Probably Friday. Okay? My sympathy for the snow and all that shit, maybe that's your excuse. And that's fine. Okay, stairs, the first thing, this is sort of designed for an online class too, and that was, I used to get people to go look at the code and find out what the mins and max are for residential rise and treads. And then you also have to worry about headroom. Okay, so remember when you do the basement, that beam is in 2 pieces? There's a reason for that, because you're banging a head going down the stairs. And I forget what it is, it's something like 78 inches or something like that. It's pretty high. And remember when you build a house, that framing, and you're checking head height, in case you end up going into residential or something like that. Make sure you remember that the beam and the stairs at rough are not the same when they finish, and the building inspector knows that. So there's gotta be drywall on the beam, and there's gonna be flooring on the stairs. So you're gonna lose some there. So I've got stuck on this before, because usually it's pretty close, especially a house like this. Because what the designers wanna do is they want all their floor space, right? Big, long runs of stairs are a bad idea, and this house is pretty hard to get any narrower. We used to build this house, when I first started here, we used to build this house, it was a 1,200 square foot house. Trying to get stairs into a drawing, it was a nightmare. But we didn't put them in, somebody else had to. But you have to provide a stair opening in the right place that makes it feasible. And there's all kinds of code around stairs, because people fall downstairs, so there's a shitload of code with stairs, right? Landing size, door placement, handrail placement, rise and run on the stairs, width of stairs, all that stuff, there's a ton of it. Even where you put the doors and stuff, you actually have to allow room at the bottom of a set of stairs for people to fall down the stairs. You can't put a door at the bottom of a set of stairs, it has to be, I think it's 4 feet, or 3.5 feet. You gotta give a landing spot for when someone falls down the stairs. Because if they fall down and hit the door, they get hurt worse, or whatever. Yeah, oh yeah, it's pretty gnarly. And it's pretty easy to build stuff wrong. Okay, quote of the day. It's easy to build shit wrong. Okay, so what view do we wanna be in to do this, do you figure? Let's go to top of footing. Okay, in the floor plans, we're done with ceilings for now. Okay, so we're gonna go in here, and bring your DWG back if you don't have it on right now. So light bulb, right, and then you click on what you wanna bring back. In my case, I already have it, so I don't have to worry about it. The reason I brought the DWG back is there's a couple 2x4 walls here. And part of the assignment is to draw a mechanical room too, so we might as well just draw that right now while we're doing it. So we're just gonna go grab the wall tool. And we've got a frost wall drawn already, so I'm just gonna go to my interior 2x4 wall that I used upstairs. Core base interior works for me. Top of footing, I don't wanna draw it in the slab, so I'm gonna come up 3 inches. Because we've got a concrete floor here too already now, right? If you draw it through the floor, whatever, you'll catch it later and you'll see it, you can bring it up, yeah.
Do you wanna remove the gyprock from one half?
No, not right now.
I
Yeah,
already did it.
yeah. We can go in and tune that up later if you want. Okay, so I was beating everybody up in their assignments about the fact that when you cut that stair hole, you have to go to the framing. Because what happens here is when you put, we're gonna frame walls down there, we're gonna have drywall on it, but the other problem is we usually split drywall where the stairs go. We're not gonna go there on this one, because it, Destry's been in residential houses and seen how it's a little bit confusing to show it this way. I'd rather just take you to show you a house, would make a lot more sense. So we're just gonna kind of gloss over that for now, okay, just so we can learn how to use the tool, but good point. Not many people ask that, but they're right. Top constraint, top of foundation will do, or underside joist, or however you label your drawings, okay? So we're good to go, so we'll just draw this bad boy in here. Looks like it stops right there, and that's totally cool. The drywall's wrapping on that. I'd probably set that before up top, because you know that wall that ends by the laundry room, we turned the wrap on. So you should do that if you haven't, so you can go in and edit your wall right now. And see where it says wrapping at ends in my 2x4 interior wall? I've got that turned on to interior. So if you wanted to change it, you just hit this drop down box. It comes stock as none, but I already changed it on my top floor. I don't know if everybody did that or not, but if you did it, you might as well now. That's just for when you have an end of a wall, right? So that's all cool.
When you have something like this, create a new one.
I could, yeah, you could create a new wall type if you want to. Yeah, we could create a wall type with just drywall on one side as well. It's difficult to do, but we're just gonna leave it like this for now.
Which one is?
Okay. Just so you know, the ways, okay, the elephant in the room. When these pre-manufactured stairs, they get them, like you can build stairs, most builders, what they do in this style of house is they have a stair company just builds the wall. They build them off the plant. The stairs are gonna be at a minimum, and for this opening are gonna be 1 inch less than the framing. But they go in before drywall. On the stair stringer, if I were to cut the stairs in section, here I go, I wasn't gonna do this, but if you cut the stairs in section, you're gonna have the stringer, right? So like the stairs are going up this way, and this is the stringer that goes down on a slant, right? Like this. For those of you who don't know, that's the stringer, and the steps go like that. Okay, and then you put carpet or hardwood or whatever's going on after the fact. This is the framing. This is a 2x4 wall. I got drywall on the outside, and I'm gonna have to have drywall on the inside. So they make them a little bit less than a 1/2 inch each side, but usually what they do is they have a 1x4 on here. A little closer. There's the stringer. They put a 1x4 in here. so that before this is drywalled or whatever, you can drive fasteners in here. Screws work best. That way the stringers don't bounce. The stairs don't creak as much. Good builders do this. Shitty ones don't. The stairs make noise. But they leave room in here, a little bit more than a half an inch, so the drywall can tuck in. The drywall is just slide it in between breaks for greasy chicken. Okay, and then there's usually a little mold in here to take care of anything. And then this gets capped by whatever, like not on the bottom, but on the top, and it looks pretty. Or maybe it just has carpet wrapped on it. There's a billion different ways to trim that out. But that's how that works. So what we're doing in Revit right now is we're not gonna do all that. We're just gonna have our drywall there, and we're just gonna bring our stringer to the drywall, assuming that we're poor builders and we're not attaching the stairs to the studs on that basement wall. Okay? Thank you. So, I'm gonna get you to draw this room in anyway, so you might as well just do it right now. I'm gonna draw this all the way over. And it might not wanna join to that drywall. There we go. Right there. You're gonna put a door in here later, it's part of the project. And then, I'm just gonna draw the room now. Because I'm doing it, oops, wrong side of the post. I usually start at the post, that way I know I'm gonna hit it. And just come in at 90 degrees and bang it to the wall. Let go, highlight the wall. And then drag my wall down. And then, so I can see the other wall, I'll get one of those little cheater lines. There it is. Good, awesome. You don't have to do this now. I'm just doing it to show you what you need to do. This is sort of I think it comes up later in the assignment. It talks about getting you to do it, and then you just close this in. Oops. So we just made a mechanical room. And then we'll just put a 3-foot door in there. That's code, by the way. You have to have a 3-foot door in the mechanical room. Okay, and then you put a furnace and all that kind of crap in there later. Water heater, whatever you want. Maybe your homemade still, whatever you want. But what we need at a minimum is these 2 walls right here for now. Okay, so get those in. Now, the stair tool is pretty unforgiving. If you screw it up, it's one of those things you pretty much have to start over each time, which isn't a bad idea. There's a whole, I'm bound to screw it up a couple times here because it's weird. So I'm in architecture, come over to the stair tool, it's right beside the ramp. It's underneath view for me. I click on my stair tool. So it's a sketch mode thing, so you know right away it's gonna be weird. And then we get this 7, we only get this 1, so I'm gonna have to, first thing I'm gonna do with this thing is I'm gonna modify it. And I've looked up and I'm gonna duplicate it right off the bat. And I think I gave you the stuff that you need. We looked it up on the code, and we're only allowed an 8-inch max rise, and our tread is going to be maximum 10 inches. Okay, that's our maximums. The stair tool is going to calculate this for you, and that's part of the problem. You can override it, but I don't suggest going there because you're going to end up really buggering it up. So we're going to say okay to that. Now I got to go change it to what it is, 8-inch, 10-inch, and now don't worry about that, because we're going to click on it later. We're going to get handles. We're going to be able to move it like the countertop. Okay? You could measure it off the plan and set it right now if you want. I just prefer not to. I find it easier to place when it's smaller, because it's going to want to attract to those walls, and that's going to get sticky, for lack of a better term. Now this is goofy here. This is a different family within a family. We haven't run into this yet. but we have to change the stringer width, because we're using 2x10s or something here, and they're 1.5 inches, they're not 2 inches, so you should change this. So I'm gonna come in here, and this is where I often run into trouble. I'm gonna click on it, and I'm in the stringer family now. It's kinda weird, and I need to duplicate it. Let me go back. I'm in the system family assembled stairs. This is referencing another family, so I wanna change this, so I'm gonna click on that dot, and it opens up the new system family of stringers. Jerry Springer. So, I gotta duplicate it, and I'm gonna call it 1.5 inches width. I'm gonna say, okay. And I need to, actually change it right here too, to 1.5.
The width or?
The width, don't worry about the depth. Okay, so there it is. It's a family within a family. It's called a nested family. There's some of these, if you get into the commercial stuff, sometimes this goes like 6, 7, 8 feet. And you really start to get bungered up. This one here, we don't have to do it again. We can just come over here and click this. Hang on, I'm goofing it up. I can click on that, and I think I can come here.
No, you gotta,
No, I gotta do have to click on it.
yeah.
Click on it here, and then I can just select it, because I just made it. And then if I say okay to that, I'm back in my assembled stair, and I've changed them both, left and right stringer width. Weird, goofy, scary, uncomfortable. Calculation rules, don't edit these things unless you have to. Okay, we can get through this one without doing that. Okay, I know you want to look at them, but you can use the stair calculator for slope and all this kind of stuff. We don't need to go into this detail. If we do, it's a world of pain. So I'm pretty happy with that. 8-foot rise, 10-foot run. The width, we'll play with that later, and we have our stringer set. So, okay. What's next? Where do we want to start? We want to start top of footing. We don't want them buried under the floor. Seen that happen before. 3 inches. You know what good stair companies do in production building? They come out and they measure the house. Do you think the top of the wall and the slab are going to be as it is on the plan every time? They need to measure, right? I had one guy tell me one time, he says, your stairs, they're 1 inch too high. He goes, well, just tip them. It's only a 1/16 of an inch each tread, because it was 16 rises. Fired him right there on the spot. Got somebody else. Just tip them. Okay. I only have 3 wheels for the car that we're building, so let's just put 3 on it. Fine. Don't worry. Cut a third of all the other tires and put it on the other side. Okay. Now it says desired number of rides is 16. Don't change that, because it's gonna calculate it.
It says 20.
Don't worry about it. It's gonna be all over the map. I did this yesterday, it said 18. Don't worry about it, just leave it the way it is. Okay? It is supposed to be 16, but I've done this before, I was just doing it yesterday, but I was doing it in a different model, but it might be remembering, maybe not. What's next? Okay, so we know we want the top of the stairs here, but just like in the real world, we start at the bottom and go up when you build stairs. You ever try it from the top down, you will fail every time. It has to be from the bottom up. Okay, it's like putting siding on a house. You start at the top and try and stick every course underneath you. That's ridiculous. You know, when they make ducks, they start with the feathers at the back and in the duck factory. I'm talking nonsense, just for fun. Now, I can use the DWG as a good guide because I'm just relying on the person that before. I'm going to start way back here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them into position later. So I'm going to start here, click, and I'm going to come up here somewhere. I'm going to click. It'll stop on you. You won't be able to drag anymore. So there's our stairs.
Sorry, which line did you choose from the bottom?
I just guessed. I didn't choose a line. I just placed it way past where I know it's gonna end. Let me do it again? I'd rather not, cause I have to do all that stuff again.
No, it's okay.
I'll do it again after. Let me do the whole thing. Now let me think, what's the smooth way to do this? Should I finish now? Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna click the finish. And there they are. So, let's go look at them. I'm just gonna borrow one of my sections rather than making a new one. I'm gonna move it over here. And we're gonna go look and see what kind of nightmare we have. Ooh, it came with handrail. So that's not so bad. My parameters are good. It's pretty much at the top here. It is, doesn't look like it. It's down here, but it's too far. So we gotta move them. Don't move them here. World of pain. Don't move them here. We're just looking. Don't. Do not move here. World of pain. Don't. Go back to your top of footing. This is where we get to play with them. Now, if I click on them, click on edit stairs. And now I can drag this, actually no, don't do that. I'm just gonna click on them. And I'm gonna drag them, I should be closer. I'm gonna drag them so that I get that dotted line on that red DWG line. And you can see they're still too narrow, but that's okay. I just got them in position now. All I did is click on them. Okay, I'm not really in sketch mode. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my section. Oops. Okay, I'm liking it. It's getting closer. I'm gonna go with a hidden line. This shaded isn't working for me. So I can see what's going on in here. Okay, so it looks like maybe I got them in too far, but I'll change them after. Let's work on their width next. Okay, so things are coming along nicely here. So I'm gonna go back to top of footing. Be careful because you can I'm still in the stair. I can place a second set right now if I click, so you don't want to do that. I'm gonna click on edit stairs. And I'm gonna select them. Now I have handles. I'm gonna make them wider by dragging this over. And it's hard to see what you're doing. Go like that. And about like that. So it's 4 foot and 5/8 is what it's telling me. So I'm just gonna click to finish. I can go back and edit them later if I don't like it. And I could have done this beforehand, but I'm gonna go to top of subfloor and I'm gonna find out what space is actually there from drywall to drywall. Um, 36, it's 44 and an 8. It's quite a ways. But there's a handrail in here too that's causing an issue. So, hang on, I'll come and walk around here in a minute or two, because this is, it's not easy. You have to do this a bunch of times before you get it. To make things simple, let's go back and look at this section again. There's some work you have to do here too. Because remember we wanted to, I drag the stair to that dotted line in top of footing view. It's not correct, okay, it might be the DWG. There's my floor, okay. If you've got that floor where it's supposed to be, you need that vertical piece, which is just representing a silly piece of plywood, to be attached to that. But let's just check, like how do I know that? Well, we said we wanted a 10-inch rise, so I'm gonna measure from here out to that nosing. Hang on. And the nosing back to that base is 11 inches. Why is it 11 inches when it said 10? 1 inch nosing. You know, for those of you who walked around with me in the first year or whatever, I was pointing out I had to have nosings on steps, it's code and all that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, in the stair tool, it doesn't talk about the nosing. But we have a nosing here now, so we got 11 inches. So if that's 11 inches and all the other ones are 11 inches, which they will be, it stands to reason that this one should be 11 inches. That's not right now, because there's to my floor, it's less. Okay? So now I'm gonna use my expertise in the stuff that I know, and I'm gonna, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna select the stairs, and I'm gonna grab my align tool, and I wanna move the face of that to there, from there. Now I'm gonna measure it to see if that's the answer I want. 11 inches, excellent. So now I've got those stairs where they need to be. Sure. Undo. So there's my stairs.
Yep.
Right? See that plate there? They've done that because this is kind of how they do it. They nail it to whatever header is there. Usually there's an LVL or something across there. Or maybe it's a double joist that's been filled, so it's flush. You need something to screw those stairs to, right? And they've got this plywood on here. Usually the plywood goes to the outside, but what I did is I wanted to find out, well, I had 10-inch treads selected, but Revit has added a nosing for me automatically, so I know I've got an 11-inch tread here. So to make sure that I've got the whole stair assembly in here correctly, I need 11 inches here. So I'm measuring it, and I'm coming back to the face of my floor, and I notice I've only got 10 and 171, 256, right? Is it? Well, then you're placed perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes. Mine didn't. So if yours didn't, what you need to do is move it. You just got lucky, Alex. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the stairs. I'm gonna grab my align tool. And I want it to go there, from there. Now I've got 11 inches. You just got lucky, Alex, it happens.
But it's right in the middle of the.
It's probably where your floor is drawn. And that's okay. You've already got by assignment 1. If I dinged you for it, I dinged you for it. If I missed it, I missed it. I didn't actually even check that axis, I only checked the other axis. Yes, sir?
Do you want it on the back face of that piece of plywood?
Well, in the real world, yeah, but mine's working out to 11 inches and that's where I'm gonna leave it. Remember, it's a model. Okay? Destry's correct. Normally this is a piece of 3/4 ply or something. It usually sits on the face of this thing. But I'm going by, to make this work properly, I want 11 inches here. You can't mess around with stairs. You can't have unequal treads and rises, or you're gonna get busted. Okay, because people will fall, right? We don't have a nosing on our floor. We don't even have a nosing on our floor. I'm not gonna bother with it, but we could put one there, but if you want to later, you would need 1 inch of nosing there as well. Okay? The problem is, this is the only RFA file that we have. We can go get some, but they're nasty. They're really nasty. There's RFA files out there that, these are finished stairs, that's our problem. You can go get rough stairs, they won't have the nosing on them, okay? But we'll just work with this because it's doable. Okay? So that's pretty good. Let's get rid of one of the rails. First of all, because they're finished stairs, we don't do rail like this into a basement. Typically it's attached to the wall. So I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna go to not my ceiling view, I should close that. I'm gonna go to this top of subfloor in my floor plans, and I'm gonna put a section through here this time. Temporary section. I'm gonna go look at it. Let me get this junk out of the way. And you see I got this railing here? This is actually a good thing to do. You can also see I don't have them centered properly either. I got a little bit of space on this side and a little bit, because I was just dragging it, I was guessing, and it's really hard to see. If you try and align that, it may blow up to kingdom come. Because it's very unforgiving. So I'm leery too. I can click on it and I can go edit stairs and get some handles and try and fix it now. I can make it a little bit better. More better. Okay, I like that. So I'm gonna green check mark to finish. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of one of these handrails. It's usually, so this is the kitchen side here, yes? Yeah. So I'm gonna delete this side. You don't need handrail on both sides of a set of stairs like this. It takes up too much room. You can't move your couch up and down and all that stuff. And we don't put balusters down to treads on basement stairs either. But again, this is the RFA file that we have and we're just gonna use it. So I'm gonna grab this one and I'm gonna delete it. It just came with it. And we're gonna leave it at that. To put wall rail on here is an absolute mitigated nightmare, just like it is in the real world. Because there's a code for that too. 34 inches from the line of flight. Which is my hip bone, by the way. I used to check that right off my hip bone, but it depends on what size boots you have on. You have to adjust for that. Okay? And I think, once you're happy with yourself, you can go to, maybe the 3D model or something like that, and, what would be a good way to look at that? Okay? Alright, this is buttered up. You should see what happens if you put a landing in it. Try and put 2 plates in. Woohoo! Yeah, you're too low. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so click on it. Click on the stairs. Edit tighten on your stairs. You say okay to that? You did 16. Why are you not up? Let's see what the bottom looks like. Your stairs are pretty steep for some reason. Here, top of floor, here, that shows yourself like you're supposed to be. Top of subfloor. Yeah, this is a good one, eh? It's hard.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
I think that's really good. What it should show back right here, it doesn't account for that when you're doing your threads or threads.
It might be the way you put it there, so go to top footing view,
I think that's what I was like, maybe not, but that I was just like.
zoom out a little bit.
What are we?
You might have to pooch it, and this happens, and there's no reason for it. Scroll down here just so we can see this way a little bit. Start them way back here. Yeah. Like you do, start over again. And start them way down here, and then slowly drag them into place, but don't take them too far. I don't have an answer for you, I've done it a zillion times, just, yeah, stop there somewhere. And you might not have completely deleted them. Oh, you didn't drag them, you have to drag them, yeah. Ooh. You're still in sketch mode, though, you might have to check your finish, and then, oh, there you go. So just drag them in there, just don't try and put them right in place, leave them back a bit, yeah. Oop, constraints were wrong. Yeah, it's frustrating, but that's probably all it is where you started, and you might have tried. Don't try and place them perfectly when you drag them in.
Okay.
You gotta leave some slop. So when you're on top of footing view, when you're first starting, you wanna start out here somewhere.
This.
And don't be a hero and try and hook it on, because it's not gonna work. Like, leave them back. Not in this view, but in top of footing view.
Especially because the stringers, like, the stringer's 2 inches high here.
So yeah, when you first put them in,
It's like,
start way out here somewhere. And drag them up until I'm saying feel it, but there's a calculator working in the background. Cause I've told it I wanna start at, top of footing plus 3 inches to subfloor. It'll sense that when you're pulling it, cause it's doing the math. And it'll sense it and it'll wanna stop, so stop short. It just kinda hangs. I don't know how to explain it, you don't actually physically feel it in the mouse, it's not a feedback mouse, but it'll want to. That tells you that, okay, I just calculated what you need, let go of me. Then move them into place. If you try and be a hero and get them, they're not gonna work. Sometimes it takes 2-3 tries. Or maybe 4.
for the width here.
I'd go to hidden line, cause it's really hard to see what's going on there. Make sure you're working in fine, you're working in medium right now. You wanna see your drywall and everything. Okay, so click on the stairs. Click edit. Click, edit stairs. What do you wanna do, make them wider?
Yeah.
Yeah, so click edit stairs up top, and you'll get your handles. You have to scroll down to get them, unfortunately. Oh, your stairs aren't high enough. Are you in a section view?
Yeah.
You cut your section in the wrong place, so you don't get the handles. Yeah. Cut your set, because the handles are only gonna appear at that midway point, so you need to move your section back or something.
You can see it.
Yeah, nobody wants edit boundaries, not getting his handles.
Okay, we can do that. It's just that edit boundary, or edit stairs, and then
Yeah,
the handles will come and I can just drag them to match.
Yeah. Don't drag the handles, the arrows, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you guys? Alright?
So the width of the stringers,
It's a family within a family.
this is what I changed, right?
Yep. Yeah, duplicate it.
Yeah.
Duplicate it first.
Oh, duplicate first?
Yeah, duplicate it or you're gonna be in trouble. Duplicate it and rename it as a stringer 1.5 width. And what you're doing is you're adding that family to the other family. How do you get everything done with that shit?
Let's go through that.
What about you guys? Anything else? You good? All good? Right on. All good? More or less? Okay. Tight. Give me a holler if you need a hand. Sure. Break. What? Crazy. Yeah. That's fine, you can put it right, yeah. You're going perfect room style here. Well, I don't know, you gotta measure it, because if your floor is, yeah, so you wanna measure from the face of the floor to the nosing and see if you get 11 inches.
Yeah.
But where's the face of your floor though, it's the gray thing, isn't it? Like, go to hidden line, you can't tell and shade it.
Just, yeah.
Light up your floor system. Okay, yeah, that looks like it's probably right, so just measure from there to the face of that thing, if it's 11 inches, you got it, yeah.
How about these?
The stringer,
Yeah, shouldn't it?
that's just the model,
Here?
it's just the model. You'd have to modify the RFA file and stuff like that, I'm not interested in, you can, but I'm not interested in going there right now. That is a really complicated RFA file, because it does self-calculations. If you start screwing with it, you'll blow that thing all to shreds. If you want to on your own time, go download some other stair RFAs. There are some out there, I haven't had a whole lot of luck finding a decent one.
But you can make it as it is.
Yeah. It's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, but it's a start. You could probably teach a month-long course on how to do stairs. The commercial stuff is gnarly. Like for instance, the stairs at Aldred on the southwest corner, like I walk those things every day just for exercise. And there's 88 steps from the ground floor to the fourth floor. This is how it works. The first floor is usually taller in buildings like that because there's more mechanical on the first floor. So the first flight is 18 to the landing, and then from the landing to the second floor is 16. You get to the second floor, it's 13 and 14, 13 and 14 the rest of the way. It's like the weirdest, it's the weirdest thing. And excuse me, if you take your tape measure in there, don't do it, because you're gonna find all different sorts of runs and rises, and they're all very close, but they vary. So whoever drew those stairs is some kind of wizard, and whoever built them is just a mental case. There's not a whole lot that makes sense. And they're cracking too, by the way. There's one up at the third floor, something like that, there's a gap in there, I don't think it's safe, it's getting close to 1/4 inch. I always hang on to the handrail when I'm going up them, especially when I have a big load in my backpack. I'm kidding. Okay, so I'm just gonna carry on just a little bit more here, so just so you can sort of see what's coming and what the expectations are. So what you should do next is you should you should finish this room off, get yourself a door, grab a 36-inch door of some sort. I think it's in the, oh, before I do, guess what I'm gonna have to do? In top of footing, you're gonna struggle with this if you don't pay attention. I wanted to place a door in here, and I just did, but I can't see it. Remember, last time we did a bunch of stuff on top of footing view, what were we doing? We were fooling with the view range. Yeah, heck, it's way up at 8'10" right now. I'm gonna put it down, I wanna be able to see doors and stuff. So I'm gonna put it at like, I don't know, let's just put it at 6 feet, see what happens, okay? Nothing really changes, I can't see my basement windows now, but that's okay, I know they're there. But I wanna put I just put a door in, I put a pocket door there, I don't want a pocket door down there, that's stupid. I'm gonna put a door in here, just put a swinging door of some sort. I'll just grab this one, it doesn't match my upstairs doors. And I'm just gonna place it in there.
Would it be enough?
And it should probably swing that way. It can swing in. You need a 36-inch door in a mechanical room by code, so you should put a 36-inch door there. This isn't in the DWG files, I'm just winging it. It might be. You can do the whole basement development if you want to, but I'm not gonna mark it. All I want you to do for the assignment is just sort of give me a mechanical room. It's kind of your choice, whatever makes sense. What I do here is the easiest way. And then go find a hot water tank, maybe a furnace, That's enough. You can put other junk, you can put a boiler in if you want to, whatever, just put some stuff in here, just to sort of complete the check mark on the assignment. What's the assignment actually say? Somewhere. Oh, step number 3, place components, furnace, hot water tank, draw some walls and a door for the mechanical room. We need walls and doors to enclose the furnace room. Yeah, so just so you know, residential code, there's a couple things that can happen here. Like if you develop the basement, you definitely need this door, okay? If you don't develop the basement, so the builder just hands it to you, they're either gonna put a door at the top of the stairs, or they're gonna put one down below somewhere. In this case, they'd have to put, another wall here, and a door one way or the other, because you have to have, I think it's 3.5 or 4 feet for people to fall down the stairs. You can't end stairs close to a wall. Like if these stairs started here and came down this way, by the way, that's why we start at the bottom, so you get the up notation. If I started over here, they're the wrong way, okay? But if I wanted to have a wall, like a hallway here, that hallway has to have a minimum width, I forget what it is, I'm pretty sure it's over 3 feet, I think it's 40 inches, in case somebody falls down those stairs. Okay. So, but anyway, you have to have a door, it's for fire, okay? So, because this is undeveloped space outside these walls, currently, I put the door on the mechanical roof. When you buy a house, again, with no basement development, the cheap way to do it is to throw a door at the top of the stairs. A lot of people, once they develop their basement, remove that door, you don't need it anymore. Unless you have small children or you put a baby gate on it or whatever. It's kinda nice, it helps a lot of the, for forced air heating, sometimes it helps a little bit too. Sometimes it doesn't help. Some people like to keep it shut because they keep their basements cold, so. Okay, so, that's pretty self-explanatory, you all know how to do that. Sometimes students put a wall under the beam that's in here, it's a bit of a challenge. Because remember that beam comes down, you can do that if you want, whatever you wanna do. If you wanna fill this full of fish tanks and beds or bedrooms, there you go, I don't give a shit, I'm not gonna mark it, but go ahead. Fill your boots. Just remember to change your view range so you can see stuff. Because you probably left your view range up high in the windows or the beam on that top footing view. So get used to it, don't be afraid of the view range. You must embrace and love the view range. Again, so I'm just gonna go back. Mine's set 0 at top of subfloor. I'm well down below the footing, so I see everything for sure. And I set my cut plane at 6 feet so I can see the doors and stuff. We don't have to worry about it because we know that when we go to our top of footing view and wireframe and all that kind of stuff, remember we annotated the beam, we annotated the pads and the footings and stuff. Okay, dimension lines. Actually, step 4. The basement floor plan, which is our top of footing, it's supposed to be left in wireframe. And hide the AutoCAD file when you're done with it. You don't have to do this now, but this is how I kind of want you to hand it in. Oops, what did I do? And set it to 1/4 inch. And then if you put a section in like I have, you should remove that too. So this is what you want to be handing in. Actually, this is a temporary section line too. That's what I should see. Plus a hot water tank and some other stuff. Just make sure the view range is set out to show that stuff. Actually, hey, where's my beam and my footings? Oh, you know what? I have a different file open that I didn't do that in, but you should see all that stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm working with about 3 different models here at once. Okay, so you should have your beam, you should have your footings and your pads and all that stuff showing as well. Because you lock those in by projection lines, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Dash.
Yeah, but you have to change the view range so you can see the doors and the hot water tank and stuff that you're gonna add in here. Okay, so play around with that. Okay, so that'll keep you busy. It's not that bad. Remember, trying to modify those stairs if they don't work the first time is not easy to do. It's better just to cut bait, delete it, start over. It has to do with how you place them usually. So you might just have to tweak your stuff. Yeah, if I think of it when I'm done here, I'll show you a different model where it's done. I didn't draw all that stuff in this model, so. Okay, so let's move on here. Let's go to learn how to annotate. Gonna go to the top subfloor, we're gonna leave that for now. And I don't have a lot drawn on this model either, but that's okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to decide if I should bring some of that back or not. Let me bring my DWG back for now, just so you guys can, so it makes some sense, because I don't have all the junk in my model like you guys do. Annotate. We're gonna learn how to dimension now. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do. So you gotta use the align tool in this. And you need to set some parameters on this. So annotate, align. You gotta pick what you wanna do here. I'm gonna use face of core. And the reason we're gonna use faces of core is because we want a dimension to the framing, okay, not the drywall, okay? You can individual reference if you want, or you can use entire walls. I'm gonna start off with entire walls just to show you how to do the string. I'm gonna check that off. And then in my options, it's a good idea to select these centers, I think is fine. And you can play around with these things, you're gonna get different performance out of it, but I think this will work. You'll notice you can also change your line style and stuff. 3/32 arrow is pretty standard. Now, takes a bit of time to get used to this. But remember, where do I want a dimension from? I can use my grid line, but really where I am is outside of sheathing. Okay, so I'm gonna click on that and it starts my dimension line. Ooh, look at this thing. Okay, now what I wanna do is, what am I gonna dimension to? Am I gonna do centers of, oh, I don't have a window showing, shit, it's my view range. Actually, I might have deleted that window by mistake. But I wanna pick up my center lines of my windows, and I wanna pick up walls. So I gotta come in here, and when you come in here, if you're having trouble, use your tab key.
All the windows?
Center of the windows, yeah. Use your tab key to get that. So I'm gonna go here. And center of the door. Center of the window. It's kind of a bouncy thing. And I'm coming in, I'm gonna grab that wall. Make sure you're consistent. This is how we dimension. We don't tend to go inside, outside, inside, outside. See, I'm picking the same side of the wall the whole way. Framers like this. I know, because I framed a lot of houses and it's way easier on your brain. This is a tough one. I can't necessarily find it. That's the edge of the shower. That's probably correct, but I could come to there just to verify. Yeah. Center of the window. And then I'm going to use the grid line because I know that's the outside of sheathing. Then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to, don't select that, that's the roof. I'm going to select nothing. And that ends the string. How slick is that? Okay, so if I hit escape a couple times, I can select it. And I can think, I want to pull that up a little bit so it's up out of the way so I can see it. How cool is that? That's a string. Okay. You're gonna say, can I make it cumulative? Yes, you can. I don't like that as a framer because I have to do a lot more math. It's nice having it all set like that, so you can. How do I do that? Well, I don't do a lot of this, so forgive me if I screw this up. Basis of core. Let's try individual references. See what's going on there. Individual references maybe when you want to just do stuff like this. So it's picking, I didn't even check that. I wanna set that dimension. So now I know that the cabinet guy knows I've gotta go 5'7" off the wall for that cabinet. I don't even have a cabinet there. And then we'll give them another one. Use a tab key to come from framing. To there. It takes a while to get used to it. To let go of the tool, you have to click on nothing, and then you get it. Now, what do you do about this? Right? 30 seconds, nobody works in it 30 seconds. We're not building pianos here, we're building a house. So what you can do with that kind of foolishness is come into edit type. Oh gosh, I hope I'm gonna remember how to do this. Units format. You click on that and you would unclick project settings. And this is where I pick feet and fractional inches and I set my parameters here. I don't want 30 seconds. I want the nearest eighth. This is as fine as you're ever gonna go. I went down to system family linear dimension style. There's a whole bunch of them there, you just click on them until you figure out which one it is. And there's other conditions I can set. I can suppress 0 feet to neaten up my drawing. So it takes the zeros away when it's laying all the text in. There's a lot you can do here. You can change the style of the text, you can change the font, you can change all kinds of stuff. Okay. I'll back up, it was right here, Destry.
I found it, thank you.
Okay, so units format, primary units. You can put more than one unit on at a time if you want. I have none set right now, I can put both on. Don't ever do that. That just tells the world that somebody doesn't know Imperial or somebody doesn't know metric, that's an insult, so don't do that. So I've never seen that on a drawing. If I did, that person needs to be slapped. I'm kidding. Okay, alright. So there, see it neaten it up, 5'11", close enough. Went to the nearest 8 for me, because it was like a ridiculous number. So what do I want for the drawing? What's it say? Oh, it says that your dimensions are near 16th. Suppress, I went to the 8th, you're supposed to go to the 16th according to the thing. And suppress the 0 feet, I didn't do that, you probably should. That just gets rid of this. So that's 0, 6 foot 0 and 3/8. That's nice to have on elevations and stuff, because it helps people think a little bit, but the dimension, it clutters up the drawing too much. I don't know why I put a 16th on there. Lots of these drawings are done at a quarter. I'm a bit fussy, so. How much of that should you do? Let's say, let's do, just in terms of the assignment, let's just do 2 exterior walls. I don't care which one you do, you can do across the bottom. I'm missing a window, which is bad. And come down one of the sides. And then try something try a string in the, inside somewhere. Easiest place is probably these bedrooms, maybe 2 strings in the bedroom, so let's try that. Annotate, line, bases of core. I'm gonna do a string now, so individual references. I'm gonna come across here. Want to be consistent with this. It's probably a good idea to come to outside of sheeting. And then end at that. Okay, so let's get 2 directions in these busy rooms, let's call that enough. And then what we can do is you have to start thinking here, like you're gonna build the house. So if I do a string through these closets, nobody's gonna know what this jog is here, this wall is different than that wall. So it'd be nice to have the overall room as well. So, I guess, I don't know, I'm gonna start at the outside of sheeting, there it is. This will tell you the maximum size of that room. It's always nice to have the room size. I guess maybe I could have gone to the other side of that wall, it's fine. You don't have to worry about the framer. You don't have to worry about the framer because they know how thick that wall is. You don't have to tell them the inside of that. If it comes up somewhere else when you're trying to do something, it will. But I could have come through the closets, but because we want to know where all that stuff is, you might want to do an individual dimension in here. You don't have to do, that's enough. If you give me that, that tells me you know how to use the tool.
To interior and to exterior.
But if you, well, it's your choice. Myself as a framer, I like it, most stuff snapped to the outside. The key is consistency. So when you run a string down a wall like that, you want to be picking the same side of the wall all the way, unless there's a good damn reason not to. Because it just makes it so much easier, okay? You can run a separate string. So individual reference. I'm gonna put another string in here, and I'm gonna do individual references. Oop, what am I doing wrong here?
Right. Good. There was again where we set the dim lines to suppress 0 and to dimension the rest of the 16. Click on maybe one.
You wanna go back and edit? So if you go back and like click on a string like this, you can change stuff, right? So I can come back into edit type. What does he wanna change?
To dimension to the
You can
0
change the ticks too if you want.
and to suppress 0 feet.
Primary units, I think. Suppressed to 0 feet. This is where you change your rounding. My assignment actually asks you to go to the nearest 16ths.
Thank you.
You don't see a whole lot of residential drawings going to the 16th like that too much. We used to do it in here because the AT students used to learn how to use Revit like you are now using this house. And also because we were in pretty controlled conditions, that house was like a bit of a piano, like we built it pretty well. So we actually did use, just so that people understood the theory. right? Because really the exterior walls on this thing are 5 7/8, so we thought that we should be going to an 8 at a minimum. Lots of people when they frame are just gonna call that 6 inches, even though it isn't. And they'll make tubs fit in rooms and closets, and then the actual rooms really aren't what they're supposed to be. But it's so fine, nobody knows, right? The outside footprint of the house is where it's supposed to be. There's times in construction where stuff has to be extremely accurate, there's other times where it's okay that, nobody knows what, so, I mean, there's some, lots of playing around you can do there. I'm gonna kinda leave it for you guys to discover, there's other things, but, I mean, there's linear and angular dimensioning and stuff, but, just as long as you can play around with this stuff. Like, go ahead, like, you can turn some of this stuff off and see how it behaves and how it doesn't, how you can change things. But, I think if you give me, one string down the outside, another string down the other side, that'd be good, and then just give me a couple across the house somewhere. You can make it all complicated if you want to, but do some of that, just so that I can see that you got a good idea how to handle the tool, okay? There's a lot you can change there.
Do we need to add dimensions to the foundation? Or just?
I think it does say to do the basement, but you know what, add dimensions to the main floor and the basement. If you have time, do the basement, I think I'll just check the main floor. Or either or. Let's say that. No, let's not say that, let's do the main floor because there's a bit more there.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody could just do the basement, get the same marks for somebody who does a whole bunch more work. No, I want on the main floor, if you do the basement, great, but I do want those components and stuff down in there, okay, for step, whatever that is. It's just a furnace and a hot water heater and a door and some walls, just to make it look nice, and then make sure you get your projection lines and set your view range right. And then the top floor, just give me some dimensions. Okay, one more thing, because people always ask this, might as well teach it. What tool am I in here? I don't even know. So I hit escape. So I'm gonna go back to, it's more annotating tools. How about a slope? Just a slope tool. What do you use here? Spot slope, I think. So go to this should be on your sections and any 3D views that you present. I use this one. Obviously, I would neaten this section up. This is not the file that I have my neat sections in, but you would, like we did the other day, you'd make it all pretty. Get your elbows in, set it to 1/4 inch, right? Eventually, you'll submit it in shaded, and then pull all these lines in, make it pretty. Change the view range here, so the viewport, so it looks good. All that stuff. Okay, so do all that jazz. Slow barrel. Annotate. Spot slope. I don't want the arrow, I want the triangle. Offset reference, 16th might be a little bit close. I'm gonna put it, it depends what scale you're at. I'm gonna put that to 1/8 of an inch. You can play with it. I gotta remember how this tool works.
You just hover above the roof and click. That's all I'm doing.
There we go. Just hover. And you placed it. Okay? So how do I change it? Nobody sees a foot on there. There's some weird stuff in here. I'm gonna highlight it into edit type. See if I can remember where the heck this is. primary units format, probably, right here, units, rise 1 foot, sucker, I want 12 inches. Rounding, you can, if you've got oddball, you can change that, right? Like sometimes you get these, 5 and 3/8, depending on the truss design, right? You can get different pitches that are a little bit gnarly. Then you can express it in degrees too if you want. Sometimes framers like that, but most framers know it's right on your speed square. There's a conversion right on there, but it's 12.35 degrees. Actually, no, it's not. It's 18 and something, 4 and 12. Okay, so now it's 12 inches and 4. If I want to change the size of it, you can just drag it while it's selected. That's a bit big. Usually these things aren't terribly big. And again, there's multitudinous spot slope things. You can use the arrow, which most people don't use. It's usually the triangle. Sometimes they'll delete a line on that. It's just an L or whatever. There's a bunch of them you can download. There's RFA files coming as a woohoo for this. Okay, but just to show you. And then the other thing that I thought was good would be go into symbols. So I'm gonna go to the main floor and pretend like maybe this is all ready to put on a sheet or something. Take the symbol tool and grab a north arrow. I think you might have to load a family. Annotations in your US folder. North arrow, try north arrow 1. Yeah, this is about the only decent one we got in here. The other ones are pretty stupid. I don't like the look of this one very much. And we'll place this over here somewhere. Maybe just right in here where the grid lines are. Okay. And then there's not a lot of option in it. Can't really do anything. You can fool around with that. It doesn't really do much of anything. So, and the assignment says to go 35 degrees to the northwest. So assuming we don't have a site plan, we'll just assume that up is north on the sheet. We don't know where north is, but just to show you, you highlight it and click the rotate tool. If you're doing this in the book, right, you have to give it a benchmark. So I'll call that 0 or 360, and I'll go 35 degrees to the northwest, which is what, 325? You go around, no? Okay. But I mean, there's a zillion of them, right? I mean, you can come in here and you can play, that's probably the easiest one. I think that's why I put it in the assignment, but there's other ones in here and they're kind of nasty. They all look different. N for north, you idiot. There you go. North arrow with rotation. Yeah, this one's kind of stupid too. I don't think you want to use this one. This one doesn't behave. It has more stuff though, so it's sitting at 30 degrees right now. If I change that to 90, does it actually work? Yeah, see, it's goofy. Like it just went that way. So, which in my world is not 90 degrees. That's 0 or 360.
If 35 was over there, it can't be 90.
I know, yeah, so there's something that either I don't understand or doesn't work with this thing, so that's why I suggested use slope arrow number RFA 1. North arrow 1, yeah, use that one, it's the friendliest. There's some goofy stuff going on with this thing. Okay, it might look a little bit better. And I think you can take the N off if you want to. You can change the font with it a little bit. See, if you rotate this thing, what it's going to do is I think the whole thing is going to move. So you can do that if you wanted. If you wanted to use that one, that'd be okay. But so RFA files, just to reiterate, you never know what you're going to get. And these are all from Autodesk. when you go out into the world of custom shopping, then you never know what you're gonna get. So that's the end of the Summit 3.
How did you rotate the arrow?
Just highlight it and use your rotate tool.
Oh.
That rotate tool. Yep. You have to set 0 first. So wherever you want that to be, I would go north, go straight up the page, click. Now when you go that, it's gonna give you angles.
Oh.
Remember when we rotated those structural and architectural beams in the book?